Remember this guy, Jared from Subway? We're going to talk about this convicted pedophile and why his wife is suing Subway coming right up. Okay, so one of the topics that's trending, according to Google anyway, and is all over the news, or was all over the news last couple of days, is Jared Fogle. And if you don't know who Jared is, then you are probably not living on this planet. But in either case, Jared was he was the Subway guy. He was the spokesperson for Subway, and in fact, he used to go to schools and talk to kids about obesity and how losing weight and eating Subway was such a good thing. And November of last year, 2015, Jared pled guilty to possession and distribution of child pornography and even crossing state lines and having sex with kids. So he is actually in Littleton, Colorado Federal Penitentiary right now. But Jared's ex-wife, now ex-wife, is suing Subway and alleging that the company knew about his chomo tendencies. In fact, in 2008, the CEO of Subway was informed by a franchise owner, a female franchise owner at that Jared had admitted to her that he enjoyed having sex with kids. Okay, now think about that next time you go and order your foot long. Anyway, he admitted that. So she is suing Subway, saying that he knew, that Subway knew, and still went ahead and employed the guy and in fact let him continue to be around kids. I'm going to play this news clip that talks about the lawsuit, and then we're going to do a little bit of training, and I want your feedback on the other end.
Former pitchman Jared Fogle just addressed the media for the first time since Fogle's arrest. His ex-wife Katie McLaughlin saying she has filed legal action against Subway to get answers about what the company knew about Fogle's criminal behavior.
Finding out that your husband and the father of your children is a child predator, and knowing that his job involves him visiting schools on a regular basis is devastating. Finding out that Subway did not act upon at least one complaint, while continuing to utilize Jared as their spokesperson and facilitate his visits to those hundreds of schools is beyond comprehension. I filed this lawsuit today because I have questions that someday my children will ask me, and then I imagine the families of the 14 victims are asking, questions to which I have no other way to get answers.
Subway has yet to comment. Fogle is currently serving 15 years in prison for child-related pornography.
So as the news broadcast stated, this is Jared Fogle's new home, which is right outside of Littleton, Colorado. It's Inglewood Federal Prison. And he's going to be there for at least 15 years. Personally, I don't think he should get out. I think he should stay in there. I'm going to give you an example of why I think he should stay in there. And actually, I'm going to give you, it's not only an example, it's a real-life case that I worked on in the past. But I want to get your comments and your feedbacks. What do you think about the wife? Should she be suing Subway? And particularly, why is she suing? That's what I want you to think about and want to talk about, and that's the topic we're going to talk about. I am not bashing that woman. Let me put that disclaimer out there. In fact, I feel sorry for her. I feel sorry for her children. I totally feel sorry for all the victims that this jerk victimized, and my heart goes out to them. But I want to explain some things, because I know there's probably some people out there that are just looking at this at face value. One of the things I tell you in all my videos, don't just accept things for face value. Find out the reason why things are the way that they are. So why is she suing? Well, I can tell you this. And I've talked about this in some of my bounty hunter training videos. Excuse me. By the way, if you don't know what I'm talking about as far as my training videos and all my background and so on and so forth, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and then all that stuff will pre-populate for you and give you my recommended channels, and you'll know exactly what we're talking about. But getting back on the point here, so I had a similar case to this years ago when I used to do private investigations, and the scenario was this. This guy had went to prison for child molestation and some other pedophile things, and the wife did not want to believe or accept that her husband was a pedophile. And so she contacted me, and she was like, surely I would have known. If he was this way, I would have known. I was married to the guy. I slept next to the guy every night. I would have known. And so she was like, I want you to look into the case and see if we can get an appeal or get it overturned or whatever, because I think he was falsely accused. So I looked into the case. There was some procedural errors within the case that did warrant enough for me to possibly open up investigation and look into it further. So I instructed her, here's a little bit of the training for you guys that are skip tracers, bounty hunters, so on and so forth. When you're gathering facts and information, you have to be kind of like Detective Friday. And you have to tell them, I'm just getting the facts, ma'am, just getting the facts. How you interpret those facts is solely up to you. But my job is I'm just going to gather information. It's your interpretation of the information that makes all the difference. And so I tried my best to explain that to this lady. I was like, hey, okay, so we're just going to gather some information. Yes, there's some procedural errors that happened in his trial, and therefore, I will get a little bit more information to see if we can help you out. So before I wanted to get too far down that rabbit hole, though, I said the first thing that we're going to do is go and talk to him directly. I want to get his side of the story, get his opinion of it. And because, doing these kind of investigations could be costly. At that time, I was charging $150 an hour. And in fact, I think we racked up $3,500 really quick. Do the math, you'll see that doesn't take a lot of time to do. And, so anyway, we had called the prison where he was at, being myself and another agent that worked for me. And this guy, he was used to doing all kind of criminal investigations. He worked Vice, I believe, at Myrtle Beach years ago. Anyway, we both decided that we were qualified. We had the background, so on and so forth. So we decided we were going to go and interview this guy and get information directly from him, from the source. And so we went through all the process to get the information. And in fact, we get to the prison and we go through the guard check. And, they make us take our guns off. They make us take our badges and handcuffs off. I mean, they set our cell phones down, everything. They strip us. And then they point to all these people standing in the yard outside, like on a basketball court. And they said, okay, you see that guy leaning against a pole, looking with his head on a swivel, looking like everybody's wanting to kill him? He said, that's who you're going to go talk to, so you can go talk to him. I was like, well, aren't you guys going to escort us? They said, hell no, man. Those are killers in there. That's prison. You guys are on your own. And so we had to sign all this kind of waiver. So the point to that is, don't believe what you see on TV on all them investigating shows where everything's all pristine and clean and quiet. It don't happen that way. So anyway, we did, in fact, go out there. I mean, next thing you know, the guards let us out of their shack, and you could feel really quick that we were in prison. And all of a sudden, everybody is looking at us. We're not in guard uniform, so they know we ain't guards. We don't look like cops, so they know we ain't cops. And so that was the only thing, the element of mystique, if you will, was the only thing that kept us alive, because they were like, man, who the heck is these guys? They ain't cops and they ain't guards, but they must be some bad Mickey Fickies because they're walking in here with us, so maybe we better leave them alone. I don't know what they were thinking, but in either case, they didn't mess with us. We went to this guy. He had already talked and set it up with the chaplain, and so that we could interview in his office. And he was very, very quick and hush-hush. So we walked by. He's like, no, don't come directly to me. Just keep walking. See that door? Walk right in there. The chaplain will be waiting for you, and I'll come in a few minutes. And so sure enough, that's exactly what happened. And he was like, well, you know what I'm in here for? And we're like, yeah. He's like, well, not everybody knows. So I got to protect myself because I'm going to be in here for a while. So make a long story longer, we get all the pleasantries out of the way, and not 10 minutes into the interview, this guy says, hey, look, I don't care what you tell my wife. I'm going to stay in here because if you let me out, I'm going to do it again. So you can go back and tell her whatever she needs to hear, but I plan to stay here because this is the safest place for me and any child that I come around. And it wasn't too long after that. It was all that I could do to, shouts out to Mike, to keep my buddy Mike from coming across the table and literally and killing this guy. He came unglued, and I was like, okay, this is not the place to lose your composure, literally, it's not. And so anyway, we got out of there quick, fast, and in a hurry. We went back to the wife and said, I was facing a dilemma, okay? So here's a little bit more training for you guys that are in this field. And it was kind of an ethics thing. It's like, what do I do? Do I tell the woman and just basically crush her emotionally and so on and so forth? Or do I honor this admittedly pedophile's request and not tell her and keep him safe, but let him think whatever, or let her think whatever she wants to think about the outcome of the trial? So it's kind of a catch-22. Give me your feedback. What would you have done in that situation? So let me tell you what did play out. In either case, what I decided to do was tell her that, hey, I talked with him, and he doesn't want to pursue this any further. He just wants to stay there, do his time. I didn't tell her why. I said he doesn't want to pursue it any further. Oh, God bless America, man. This woman came unglued on me. All of a sudden, the N-word started getting thrown around, and I was just this gangster that was hustling her for her money, because by now she's about, like I said, between $3,500 and $4,000 into me. And I just took her money, and she was going to file a grievance with the KBI, Kansas Bureau of Investigations, because that's where my PI license was. You can look that up, by the way. Mr. Curtis, I'm calling you out and giving you a free plug because I'm cool like that. Little sidebar there. Anyway, she was upset. Now, what it was, and I get why she was upset. She was in denial about. She could not wrap her mind around the fact that her husband, somebody that she was so close and intimate with, could do something so vile and heinous with right underneath her nose, and she didn't know about it. That's really what we were dealing with more than anything. But she did, and even when I came back and said, hey, he wants to stay there, I didn't tell her why. And, she was upset. So she wanted to sue me. She wanted her money back, so on and so forth. In fact, she did call the KBI. And she did file a complaint. So then the fact that the people that were working the case, I kind of knew them too, so that kind of worked out okay. But, then I went back and the guy at the KBI was like, King, you ought to just tell her, just get it all out of the way. And I was like, man, but if I tell her, what's that going to do for her? What's that going to do for her kids? I kind of felt at the time that was going to do more emotional damage than just her being mad at me. So I was halfway teetering on the idea, should I take the heat round for this woman? And then I got to thinking, heck no, I ain't taking the heat round. So I did tell her. Man, she did not want to believe that. She then went and said that I planted the information into his head and made him. She was that far in denial. So anyway, I want a little bit more feedback on that. What do you think about that? Should I have went that route or not? Or what would you have done more specifically? So make a long story even longer still, it did work out that nothing happened to me. I didn't get in any trouble with or my license wasn't in any trouble or anything. And it just turned out that, she was just in denial, and she didn't want to accept the fact that her husband. I finally did turn over the recording to her and let her hear it for herself. She still did not want to believe. In fact, she said that I doctored the tapes and made that all up. So I think I say all of that to say this. I believe that is exactly what's going on with this woman and why she is suing. Subway. I think she is in total denial about that, and that's just my opinion. Let me know what yours is. Hit that comments and leave some dialogue. Let's get it started. I want to know what your thoughts are on this. While you're at it, go ahead and hit that like button to this video as well. But let me know what you think. Is she in denial? Does she really have just cause? I don't think that Subway intentionally hired somebody to be a pedophile and go out here, and I don't think Subway is promoting pedophilia. I like Subway. I think they have a good business model. I think they may have made some errors in judgment if they in fact did know of this guy's history but allowed him to stay a part of their team. There was some procedural errors in judgment there, but as a whole, I don't think Subway is a bad place. I think they're a good company. In fact, like I said, they've got a really strong business model. Then there's more Subways around now than there is McDonald's, so they got to be doing something right, and I don't think promoting pedophilia is one of those somethings that they're doing. I think, like I said, it was just a bad error of judgment on their part. But more specifically, I think this whole lawsuit, I'm not bashing that woman. I think somebody in the therapeutic field needs to reach out to her and get her into some intense therapy to help her deal with this and process this and figure out how she's going to explain this to her kids as they grow up. I think that's the true issue, not the lawsuit. Let me know your comments and thoughts once again. All right, folks, that's going to wrap it up for this video. As always, know that myself and the entire Ben Group is always watching over you, so just let me know if there is ever anything that I can do to help you out in business or otherwise.